Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nelson, speaking on behalf of Maju Energy NGO. Today, we believe Malaysia should invest more resources into nuclear energy. Malaysia still depends heavily on fossil fuel for electricity generation. According to the Energy Commission of Malaysia, coal alone make up around 44% of Malaysia's electricity mix. This dependence creates long-term negative externalities, including pollution, carbon emission, and rising social costs for society. These costs are not fully reflected in electricity price, which may lead to market inefficiency and welfare loss. As global energy demand continues to increase, Malaysia also faces the challenge of balancing economic growth with environmental sustainability. Many countries are already moving toward cleaner and more sustainable energy source. According to the World Nuclear Association, nuclear energy currently produces around 10% of global electricity while generating almost zero direct carbon emission. Compared to fossil fuel, nuclear energy provides a more stable, lower carbon solution in the long run because it can deliver continuous baseload electricity. This reliable power supply is essential for supporting future economic growth and rising electricity demand. In this presentation, we will use macroeconomic theory to explain why nuclear energy may benefit Malaysia in the long run. We will focus on the negative externalities caused by fossil fuel, the positive externalities of cleaner energy, and how government investment in nuclear energy may help improve social welfare and market efficiency. Overall, our group believes nuclear energy could support a cleaner, more stable, and more sustainable energy future for Malaysia. I will now pass the presentation to Kailun for the externality analysis.
Thank you, Nelson. I'm Kailun. In microeconomics, a negative externality happens when production creates costs for other people that are not included in their market price. Burning fossil fuels for electricity causes pollution, carbon emission, and environmental damage. These social costs are not fully reflected in electricity price, which leads to market failure. As a result, the society bears additional costs such as healthcare expenses, environmental degradation, and climate-related damage. In this diagram, the market supply curve, which represents the private marginal cost (PMC), lies below the social marginal cost (SMC) curve, which equals to the private marginal cost of producing it plus the external cost of the pollution. The gap between two curves represents the external cost caused by the fossil fuel electricity production. At the market equilibrium quantity (QM), electricity is overproduced beyond the social optimal output level (QOPT), creating a deadweight loss and reducing social welfare. This means the market is producing more fossil fuel electricity than what is socially efficient for the society in the long run. According to the International Monetary Fund 2023, global fossil fuel subsidies and environmental costs still remain extremely high. Therefore, the government should allocate more resources such as investment in nuclear energy to reduce these external costs. Transiting to nuclear energy creates massive positive externality because the resulting cleaner air and a more stable climate benefits everyone in society. While the electricity itself is a private good, the environmental benefits are not fully captured by the market. Compared to fossil fuels, nuclear energy produces much lower carbon emissions and may help reduce long-term environmental costs. This provides economic justification for government support and investment in nuclear energy development. Now I'll pass the presentation to Evan, who will present how government policies may help correct this market failure and improve overall social welfare.
Thank you, Kailun. I'm Evan. The government can use several policy tools to reduce the negative externalities caused by fossil fuels. For example, it can provide subsidy and support for cleaner energy alternatives. It may also introduce triple emission permits and direct public investment in low-carbon energy infrastructure. Our group believes nuclear energy is one of the most effective clean energy options to support because it can generate large amounts of electricity with very low carbon emissions. Government support may also encourage long-term investment in cleaner and more stable energy infrastructure. By shifting electricity generation towards cleaner energy such as nuclear power, external pollution costs may be reduced. As a result, the economy moves closer to the socially optimal quantity, Q-social, where deadweight loss becomes smaller and social welfare improves. Research by Ritchie shows that nuclear energy causes only around 0.03 deaths per terawatt-hour, compared to 24.6 for coal. Even after accidents like Chernobyl and Fukushima, nuclear energy is still considered one of the safest energy sources statistically. Therefore, investing in nuclear energy may help reduce long-run social costs and improve social welfare in Malaysia. I will now pass the presentation to Ziyan, who will continue with the economic costs and real-world evidence analysis.
Thank you, Yuan. I'm Zian, and I continue my part on presenting the economic cost and the real-world evidence. Although building a nuclear power plant requires a high upfront capital cost, but what really matters in the long run is the average cost. This happens because the high fixed costs are spread over a large amount of electricity produced. This will lead to the long-run average total cost to fall. This illustrates that nuclear energy demonstrates significant economies of scale. As a nuclear power plant requires a significant fixed cost, but once it operates, it can generate electricity for more than 60 years. The cost of generating electricity using nuclear energy is cheaper than fossil fuel due to less fuel required. For example, 70% of France's electricity is produced by nuclear energy and has a cheaper electricity price than Germany. In 2022, Germany closed 3 nuclear power plants, reducing cheap electricity and increasing the reliance on fossil fuel. Besides that, generating electricity using uranium is lower and has a more stable price compared to fossil fuel. In 2022, Malaysia's electricity price has increased due to the sharp rise of fossil fuel in the international market. This shows that uranium is less affected by geopolitical volatility. South Korea produced nearly 30% of electricity from nuclear energy. The Korea Energy Economic Institute analyzed that the average cost of nuclear energy producing 1 unit of electricity is cheaper than fossil fuel. Similar to South Korea, Malaysia should include nuclear energy to diversify the electricity source to reduce the reliance on fossil fuel and generate electricity at a lower long-run cost. My Power Corporation shows that Malaysia has the feasibility to develop nuclear power plant with the guidance of the IAEA. However, the main challenge is to develop skilled technology, gain enough support, and allocate sufficient resources.
Thank you, Zian. I'm Isian, and let me bring our analysis together. We have presented 3 macroeconomic arguments for why Malaysia should allocate more resources towards nuclear energy today. First, burning fossil fuels creates significant negative externalities. Because private marginal cost lies below social marginal cost, the market overproduces electricity beyond the socially optimal quantity QOPT, generating deadweight loss and reducing social welfare. Government intervention is necessary to correct this market failure. Second, transitioning to nuclear energy generates positive externalities. Since market forces will underprovide, government investment in nuclear energy is not merely justified, it is economically necessary. Third, although nuclear energy requires high upfront capital costs, its long-run average cost falls significantly through economies of scale. Evidence from France and South Korea shows that nuclear energy delivers cheaper and more stable electricity than fossil fuels while protecting economies from geopolitical fuel price volatility. Every year Malaysia delays, carbon emissions rise, external costs grow, and fossil fuel dependency deepens. With Malaysia's feasibility study now underway, the foundation is already being laid. Ministers, the cost of inaction is not zero. Allocate more resources to nuclear energy today, and Malaysia will move closer to the socially optimal output level and a cleaner, more sustainable energy future. Thank you.